Murray Walker and Steve Ryder tell the story.
What is clearly the most competitive championship in years had got off to a surprising opening, with Will Hoy and the Vic Lee Motorsport team not only winning the opening 2 rounds, but winning them convincingly. There was bound to be a time, though, when the champagne went flat, and that time came with a vengeance in the hours leading up to round 3 at Donington. The team's cars had fallen foul of the regulation, which required exhaust noise to be under the 110 decibel limit. Unless they could get under that limit, they wouldn't be allowed to race. And if they were found to be over the limit immediately after the race, then they'd risk possibly losing all their championship points so far. There was no doubt they faced a crisis.
15, yeah? Go on, 15. No, it was 18 this morning.
With the exhaust positioned at the side of the car, their problem was that engine resonance seemed to be interfering with the test.
Yeah, you can just hear that noise come through the engine, and that gauge jumps.
The RAC scrutineers were trying to be as helpful as possible. Other competitors were less charitable.
It's simple, the rules are the rules. They should be running in the championship within the rules of that championship, which in the case of a simple thing like exhaust noise is very easy to engineer. There's no question about it. It must be one of the simplest things for any engineer to do is to reduce the decibel level from an exhaust. It might affect the power output, but then the rules are the rules. It's black and white. I don't see there's anything really that warrants a great discussion, any great discussion. It's terribly simple.
Maybe not so simple, though, with time running out. For Vic Lee and the team, the task was to reroute the exhaust or pack in extra baffling and noise protection to solve the problem in a very temporary fashion.
Trying to rig up a deflector plate at the moment because the noise meter actually picks resonance up. It's not actually the bulk of the noise of the car, it's actually a high-pitched resonance that we seem to have got in the car, and we're just trying to get rid of that. And if we can get rid of it and get it down below, I mean, obviously we want to get the cars down below 110. We can't take the risk of running at 110. We've got to get it to sort of 106. And if we were successful, then, you know, we'll go from there. We've obviously got another contingency plan, which I'm not prepared to talk about at the moment, but we'll have to see what happens at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
4 o'clock came, and the BMWs of Will Hoy and Tim Harvey were on the grid, but on the back row with 10-second penalties. They were under the noise limit, but their qualification times had been wiped out. The rest of the field had less frantic time. Pole position was claimed by Steve Soper, looking for the first victory for the Works BMWs. His teammate Jonathan Palmer alongside. The ever-improving Vauxhalls of Cleland and Allam made up the second row. Sittner's BMW on row 3 with Gary Ailes, who'd qualified his Toyota ahead of team leader Andy Rouse, who joined Ian Flux on row 4. The opening laps would certainly be frantic. SO British Touring Car Championship round 3 at Donington. Commentator Murray Walker.
On the front row, the Works BMWs, Steve Soper and Jonathan Palmer. And behind them, the Vauxhall Cavaliers of John Cleland and Jeff Allam. This should be good. Steve Soper gets away beautifully, but look at the back, Rob Gravitt is out already. So it's down to Redgate. Soper on the left and Cleland on the right, absolutely together. Then it's Sittner, Palmer, Jeff Allam, round Redgate they go. And Letton Lindgren is off. Now we're in car with Bristow. Lindgren rejoins, and that's Dennis Leach ahead. Now, down to the Craner curves at 120 miles an hour. Soper and Cleland absolutely together. Then it's Allam and Sittner behind them. Soper locks up. Onto the grass goes John Cleland, and he's losing paces. Jeff Allam's gone through to second, Sittner to third. There's Ian Flux going through to 4th position, and Andy Rouse to 5th. And John Cleland is down to 6th position. McLean's. Soper locks up, then it's Allam, Sittner. Look at it, just like the North Circular. Flux is in 4th position, Andy Rouse, we're in car with Ray Bell. That's Nick Whale ahead. And they're starting to go through. Now, we're going down Starkey Straight to the S's. Steve Soper is leading. Jeff Allam is in 2nd place. Then the black BMW of Frank Sittner. Andy Rouse is up into 4th position. Ian Flux is down to 5th. Then it's Cleland, Palmer. Bristow goes over the curb. We're in car with Lawrence Bristow now. Look, he's lost a place. Now, down to Melbourne, the hairpin. Soper and Allam leading. Frank Sidner, number 3, is Andy Rouse in 4th position. Behind him, John Cleland. We're looking back from Rouse's car at John Cleland. 5th position, up to Goddard. He's going through on the inside. He's going to take Andy Rouse. Look at it, his wheels right off the ground. And out of the corner they go, down towards Redgate. In car with Cleland, Andy Rouse on the right. So, it's Vauxhall versus Toyota. Here they go. Looking back from Andy Rouse's car, on the left, Jonathan Palmer, and on the right is John Cleland. Up to the Craner curves. Rouse, Cleland, Palmer. They're chasing Frank Sidner's BMW. The 3 of them are absolutely together. Into the right-hander, raising the dust. Looking back again. There's John Cleland. Underneath Starkey's Bridge, up to McLean's. Chasing Frank Sidner. There is Andy Rouse, number 3. And he almost locks up. His rear wheel is almost stationary as he goes into the right-hander. Looking back at Cleland again. Up towards Coppice at 100 miles an hour, the right-hander, which leads into the long straight. In car with John Cleland, Andy Rouse ahead. Now, this is only the Toyota's 3rd race. Steve Soper's leading, Jeff Allen is 2nd, Frank Sidner is 3rd, Andy Rouse that we're looking at is 4th. Into the S's, the leaders. Soper, Allen, Sidner, Rouse in car with Belm. Cross hands, almost off. Just held it, Ray Belm in the BMW. And here's a reminder that Will Hoy, number 11, the championship leader, and Tim Harvey, number 4, started at the back with a 10-second penalty for breaking noise regulations. They get away together. Tim Harvey leads the 2 into Redgate. We're in car with Will Hoy, the championship leader, in his Vic Lee Motorsport BMW M3. 2 litres like the rest of the cars. And now we are back in the race with Will Hoy. Up to 15th place from 22nd. Pagan Anderson ahead, and there is smoke inside the car. Will Hoy looks down. Don't know what it is. Doesn't seem to be worrying Will at all. He's pressing on, trying to catch the Swedish driver in front of him. Down the long straight, the smoke is getting worse and worse. This looks bad. But Will goes through, takes Pagan Anderson. He's caught Mark Hales and Ian Forrest now. Now, it's my guess that it's got to be something to do with the changes the team made to the exhaust system to comply with the noise rules. But that's a guess. And it looks as though Will Hoy's race is run. But here are the leaders. And behind them, we're looking now at Rouse, Cleland and Palmer, and Gary Ailes. Andy Rouse in the Toyota. John Cleland in the Vauxhall, number 5. Palmer in the BMW, and into the pits comes Hoy. Well, he won at Silverstone, he won at Snetterton. 48 points put him in the lead of the championship, but he's clearly not going to get any more points today. Out of the car. Mechanics having a look at see if they can spot. Fire down there, he says. And here are the fire marshals. Quick blast with the extinguishers, that'll put it out. And of course it puts Will Hoy well and truly out of round 3 too. Smoke everywhere, fire extinguisher everywhere. And that is the remains of the exhaust system. That's where the trouble was. That's Vic Lee. And there is a very unhappy looking Will Hoy. No points here today. Fast and furious at the front, and John Cleland is going through into the S's. John Cleland moves ahead of Andy Rouse, who's got Palmer, number 22, behind him. And behind Jonathan Palmer is Gary Ailes. So, now Palmer is attacking. Jonathan Palmer going for 5th position and taking it from the Toyota of Andy Rouse. We're in car with Rouse now, looking at Palmer. So this is Toyota Carina versus BMW, looking back from Rouse's car at Gary Ailes, and it looks to me as though Ailes is going through. Yes, indeed he is. Gary Ailes having the temerity to pass the boss. Both of them in Toyota Carinas on their way down to Redgate. Now, this is a super drive by 26-year-old Gary Ailes, who comes from Maidstone, number 33. He's not used to saloons, but he was 9th at Silverstone, 6th at Snetterton, and now he's 6th here. This man is a new star. Down to the Craner curves, and they're catching Frank Sidner, who is in 3rd position. They being Cleland, there he is. Behind him, Jonathan Palmer. Fifth behind him, Ailes. We're in car with John Cleland now, on the way up to McLean's. The British champion of 1989, chasing the British champion of 1988. And they can both see Soper and Allen ahead of them. First, second, third. We're riding with the fourth man. Now up to Coppice. There's Soper's BMW. Allen, Sidner, then Cleland and Ailes. Out of Coppice, down the long straight, past the exhibition buildings.